Welcome everyone to the new course of JavaScript. So I'm launching a new course of JavaScript, but it is an advanced course of JavaScript. Although you will learn basics of JavaScript, but we will go through some advanced topics in JavaScript. So first we have to understand that what is JavaScript and what is the difference between JavaScript and HTML. HTML is a static language. On the other side, JavaScript is a dynamic language. What does it mean? It means that through JavaScript you can produce some dynamic behaviors in your HTML pages which you cannot produce with HTML as it is a static language. Now JavaScript is a client-side language. What does it mean? It means that it is available for the user interaction. On the other side, there are some languages which are server-side languages such as PHP, ASP.NET, etc. Now what is the difference between client-side and server-side language? So on client side, a user can see all the things and can interact with it. On the other side, server side language is the one which is on the server and can't be accessible to the user and user can't see it. For example, you cannot see the PHP code on the web page when you do a view page source, but you can see the HTML and JavaScript code as they are client side languages. The language on the server side is basically translated to the user without knowing by the user that what's going on. So we can say that JavaScript is a client side language as it produces some dynamic behavior in the static HTML pages, and the user interaction will be more increased and will facilitate. But there are some frameworks by JavaScript which also can act as server-side languages, such as the one of the framework by the name of Node.js is a server-side language and which can work instead of PHP. JavaScript has also some frameworks such as jQuery and JSON and AngularJS. jQuery is basically the short form of JavaScript. The work which you can do with 4 lines in JavaScript can be done in 1 line with jQuery. So the question arises that why we are learning JavaScript, why we are not learning jQuery if it's so concise and easy. You cannot learn jQuery without first learning JavaScript. You have to learn JavaScript first, then you will become able to learn jQuery, JSON, Node.js, AngularJS and Ajax, because all of them are related with JavaScript. We will first learn JavaScript, then we will switch to Ajax, jQuery, AngularJS and then Node.js. So it's really important to understand JavaScript first. What are some of the requirements that you need to learn JavaScript? You must have to have the basics of HTML and CSS. If you know them, then you are good to go and learn JavaScript. So this course outlines are the following. First, we will have the introduction to JavaScript. Then I will teach you some of the basics concepts of JavaScript. Then the data types in JavaScript. As in every language, there is a concept of data types. So JavaScript have also this concept. Then we will switch to utilize HTML in JavaScript. This is really an important concept, that how we can combinedly use HTML and JavaScript. Then we will discuss JavaScript variables and then pop-up boxes, which produces dynamic behavior in the HTML, operators in JavaScript, and then if and else concept in JavaScript. If you learn if and else concept in JavaScript, you will be able to easily learn these concepts in PHP and other programming languages such as Java and all these. Then we will learn switch and loops, which are frequently used in JavaScript. Then event handlers. Event handlers are the main topic of JavaScript, and almost all the things in JavaScript work on the base of events. There are some specific events on the basis of which we handle it. We will also learn OOP concept or object oriented programming concept in JavaScript, and then we will switch to one of the really important concepts by the name of DOM or document object model. This will be our main topic, and if you learn this, it means that you have learned JavaScript. Then we will switch to some of the advanced JavaScript topics, and they are really an advanced level topics. You will not find in normal tutorials these topics, but I will teach you. In advanced topics, we will learn form APIs, different HTML forms. For these we use JavaScript APIs. Then JavaScript arrays, what is set time interval, what is event listeners, different kind of event listeners we will discuss also. Then we will switch to form validations with JavaScript. Form validation is really an important topic. With JavaScript, we can validate form before sending it to the server. You will not understand this concept right now, but you have to keep it in mind, and we will learn it in the upcoming lectures. Then the JavaScript object is really an important and advanced concept. Then web APIs, which are used frequently in industry and practical projects. Then we will learn JavaScript functions. And lastly, we will discuss browser object model. What is browser object model? We will discuss them in detail. So all of the topics will be discussed practically through code and not through slides. So I hope guys that you like it. Give me your response so that I can launch more videos about JavaScript. Thanks, take care, bye for now.